Market conditions are pointing to a quieter NBA free agency period in 2020. That and like 40% of the league changed teams last year. So this year, more than ever, it's going to be all about finding that right guy at the right contract who can fit your team exactly right. In today's video, I'm continuing my free agent series, and this time I'm looking at 5 guys who you may have forgotten about, guys who are a little bit under the radar, and I'm going to tell you where they should sign. How's it going, everybody? This is Troy, host of the Half Court Report YouTube channel, and back again with another free agent video. Did one of these for my video last Thursday, so doing one again for this Thursday. Hey, maybe I'll do one for it next Thursday because you guys really love these free agent videos. The one that I did last week is actually number 6 most popular video on the channel now. So, you know, got to give the people what they want. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video. If it's your first time here, I love basketball. I do basketball videos a few times a week. Would love if you subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the time we hit 2021. So let's get into today's video. First guy I'm talking about is Malik Beasley of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this is a guy who got traded from the Nuggets to the Timberwolves earlier this year. And he really made the most of it. He more than doubled his scoring average and his rebounding, now averaging with Minnesota about 21 points, 5 rebounds in those 14 games that he played with the Timberwolves. So Beasley showed that he can play in this league when he's given the minutes. He is the prototypical stretch the floor kind of shooting guard. And it looked like the Timberwolves had another building block to put along with Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. But then the lottery happened and the Timberwolves got the number 1 pick. So the big question is, how is Beasley going to fit into their plans? And does he even fit into their plans anymore? Especially when you have a player like Anthony Edwards, who could go number 1 in this draft and might be a guy that Minnesota wants to target. Anthony Edwards is a guy who plays the same position as Beasley and could end up being way better in the long run. So do you want to invest that money into Beasley? So Beasley is a restricted free agent, so the Timberwolves are going to be able to match any offer that he gets from another team. They may actually try to re-sign Beasley and then try to trade him away at a later time so they can still recoup some of those assets. I think he would fit in really well with the Hawks too. Beasley is from Atlanta, and 2-guard is position of need for the Hawks. He and Trae Young would be a pretty exciting backcourt. I also want to put the Pistons as an option for Beasley. I don't think they're sold on Luke Kennard as their starting 2-guard, and Beasley would really help them in their rebuild while still allowing them to stay competitive. Next guy I want to talk about is Derrick Favors of the New Orleans Pelicans. Favors kind of gets lost on this team because the Pelicans have Zion, they have Lonzo, they have Brandon Ingram, they have Drew Holiday. But Favors is still very effective and can contribute to a winning team. He's efficient when he shoots the ball, over 60%. He pulls down a good amount of rebounds, and he is all in all a winning kind of player. Favors is also a guy who is going to work hard. He's going to set good screens, do the dirty work. A great 4th or 5th option kind of player. He has said that he's open to returning to the Pelicans, and I think that's definitely a possibility. They're going to have some money tied up in what I think is going to be a maximum deal for Brandon Ingram, but there should still be some money to get something done with Favors if both sides can agree on it. I would also love to see Derrick Favors in Boston. He is immediately better than any of the big guys on their roster. He would be an awesome starter for them, and we saw in the playoffs they really need some depth in the front court. And finally, maybe send him back to the Jazz, where he played the majority of his career after that trade there his rookie year. I feel like they really missed his presence this year. Next guy I want to talk about is Mason Plumlee, the middle of the Plumlee brothers, player for the Denver Nuggets. And the Nuggets got a ton of mileage from Plumlee since they traded for him back in 2017. He's been a solid reserve for them, and he also brings some playmaking and defensive intensity. Let's just kind of forget about that flub that he had in the Lakers series in the playoffs. So what he can bring as a backup big guy kind of sets him apart from what you would usually see in those replacement level type of players. Still though, backup center is one of the easiest spots to fill in the NBA because the league is just not a big man's game like it used to be. So whoever signs Plumlee should get him for pretty cheap. I tend to think that the Nuggets will move on from him, but let's leave him with Denver as an option just in case they don't quite think Bol is going to be ready for consistent minutes backing up Nikola Jokic next year. I could also see Toronto getting Plumlee for a cheap deal, especially if they lose one or both of Marc Gasol or Serge Ibaka. There's not any size on that Raptors roster past those two. And I could also see a return to Portland for Plumlee. Same reasons. If you look past Zach Collins and Jusuf Nurkic, the Blazers don't have any big guys on their team. He did play a couple seasons for the Blazers a few years back. He was popular with the fans and in the locker room there. And what about DJ Augustin of the Orlando Magic? He's always been an undersized guy, never the greatest athlete. He is a solid backup point guard in the NBA. His raw numbers really don't jump off the page too much. They're not bad, it's just that fans don't really go into a frenzy for career per game averages of about 10 points and 4 assists. If you dig a little deeper though, it's easy to see how he succeeds as a steady point guard, nice floor general out there. He's a career 38% shooter from 3, buried more than 40% of his long-range looks each of the past 2 seasons. That assist average also grows more intriguing when coupled with the fact that he only turns it over about 1.5 times per game. In other words, he's dropping nearly 3 assists for every turnover. So Augustin can handle relatively high minutes off the bench. With his age, his experience, and his skill set, all suggest he's going to fit in a win-now type of situation with a franchise. So Orlando would be thrilled to retain his services for another few years. I also love his fit in Philly as a guy who spaces the floor and adds another playmaker to their roster. I also think the Clippers should give Augustin a look. I think he's actually one of the few teams that Augustin could start for, and they need a solid point guard on their team. Last guy I'm going to look at is Kent Bazemore of the Sacramento Kings, and like I was saying about Derrick Favors earlier, Bazemore is one of those 5th option kind of guys as a starter on a good team. If not, he's more of a super sub off the bench. So Bazemore has length, he has athleticism, he has that good basketball IQ to make him an active chaos creator on defense, and at the other end, he moves the basketball, typically makes his open shots. So that type of player has value in this league. Bazemore is getting back into free agency after spending the last few seasons with a really hefty contract, but he's definitely worth a smaller deal this time around. I say let him focus on defense, spot-up shooting, secondary playmaking, and he can still thrive as a budget-friendly two-way swingman. The Mavericks make some sense as extra firepower off that bench. Same goes for Milwaukee. And then with the Brooklyn Nets, they've got championship aspirations next year, and they need guys on their roster who aren't going to take up a lot of their salary cap, but who can still play and are going to be able to contribute to winning. That's what I think, but let me know in the comments what you think of these free agent moves and who you want to sign where. Would you want any of these guys on your team? Also, let me know in the comments the type of players you want me to cover in future videos. I'm going to pretty much have every free agent covered by the time that we get to free agency starting here in a couple of months. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned before, trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the time we get to 2021. That's all I got for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. This is Troy with the Half Court Report, and I'll see you next time.